Guys, this gives you an idea how quickly the weather can change here. This just started like 5 minutes ago. Had to run out and grab all the laundry off the line. It is coming down. Chased all the cats off the roof. And still, after the drought we had last summer, rain still doesn't bother me. I'm not going to complain about the rain. I'm starting to slow down a little, just a little. I guess I better go let her ruin. Hey guys, Jack back. Still got about an hour and 20 minutes or so before the rain stops, or before the sun sets, and maybe the rain stopping. I wasn't gonna waste a day sitting in the house all day. Sit out here and watch the Saturday evening traffic, if there is any. Yeah, so earlier I was talking about that Elon Musk DOGE stuff. And they're talking about, where they're going next. I'll tell you where they should go. They should go straight over to DOD, right over to the Pentagon. After having worked for them for 42 years, I can certainly tell you there is a lot that can be cut from DOD. I mean, just look at the billions of dollars they've wasted on that littoral combat ship, the LCS ships, in the Freedom class and the Independence class. I remember I was over in Japan when they deployed that first one. Which one was it? The Freedom? I think it was the Freedom. When they deployed, that was the first one to deploy overseas, and it went to Singapore. Made it to Hawaii, then broke down on the way from Hawaii to Singapore. They had to tow it halfway there. Then it had another critical breakdown on it on the first time it went out on an exercise. And now they're scrapping the whole program. They built 33 ships, decommissioned 7 of them already, and don't know what to do with the rest of them. So they're trying to sell them as foreign military sales, FMS. They ain't got a clue. Bad program from the start. Billions of dollars building these ships, and they can't do anything with them. They have no survivability. Anything will take them out. That's if they get them running. If any of you ever worked for DOD before, you put you spend 9 months, and the first 9 months of the fiscal year starting in October broke, because the only money you get, you got to spend on your operating programs, any contracts that you might have for services contracts and stuff like that. Then the last 3 months, just talking to myself, then the last 3 months you're trying to spend all the money that they give you at the end of the year. Such a waste. And that, anywhere I went to, and I worked for Air Force. I worked for the Army, worked for a Defense Contract Management Agency, worked for the Navy. Over a 22-year period, just civil service. And it was always the same. Always the same. You spent the first 9 months broke, not able to spend the money that you budgeted for. Then the last 3 months, they force feed you all the end of year funding that they can't spend anywhere else, and then you got to jump through hoops to spend everything, because if you don't spend it, you lose it. 22 years of that, everywhere I went. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then some years you didn't even get the end of the year funding. And those were Obama years. Just pointing it out. There were years we actually got laid off for a couple weeks. Furloughed, plus government shutdown. Yeah, there's plenty of waste there. I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, I should have thrown that in as well. Hopefully they're next. Or somewhere down the line. It is absolutely crazy. And some of it, like I said, there's no sense to how they operate things, and especially with their budget. I was a supervisor for over 12 years, having to formulate budgets each year. I'm like, wait a minute here. We're not budget people. We got to fill out our budgets and then submit them up to the budget office so that they can look at it and see if they're going to approve any of the things that you're requesting to run your product and service. It's like, why am I doing their job for them? So I got to know my job. I got to deal with being a supervisor, and I got to do their budget. And it's the same thing with administrative services and everything else. You end up doing their work for them. But here's what I really don't get. There's no differentiation, based on whatever your grade is. Say you're GS-13 or GS-14, and you're in a supervisory position, and you could have anywhere from 30 to 50 people working for you. You get paid the same as a non-supervisory, or paid less based on steps of a non-supervisory position, who only has to worry about doing their job. Doesn't have to worry about dealing with some of these people that work for DOD. Most of them are pretty good overseas, and that's where I spent most of my career, as much as I could, because most of them were veterans. When you get back in the bureaucratic places, there's some people out there who should not have government jobs, guys. A lot of them. It's a shame. I could have gotten a good buyout from Trump if I was still working at this time. Brought that up with a friend of mine. Maybe we should have stuck around another year. We could have gotten a good buyout. That didn't work out though. Yeah, Elon, if you watch my video, Elon, make sure you go after DOD next. Yeah, rain's picking up again. Having thunderstorms all afternoon. Just absolutely crazy today. Such a beautiful morning, and then turned into this. Still see some light skies over there, all the way in the back there. watching this morning. I don't know if you guys saw this one, but with what's her name? What is her name? I don't remember. But they had those 20 or 30 Democrats going out to the Department of Education, and the physical security specialist wouldn't let them in the building. They kept calling him a security guard. He's not a security guard, guys. He's a federal employee. He's a security specialist for the education department. Not a security guard. They wouldn't throw them into the fire like that. Maxine Waters, that's it. Her, I mean, she just absolutely embarrassed herself. Absolutely embarrassed herself. I mean, it's all over YouTube this morning. I was getting a kick out of it. I must have rewatched it like 5 times. Absolutely embarrassing. Wouldn't let them in. You have 20 congressmen just show up at a federal office and they want to speak to the director? Come on, who does that? They just don't have a plan. They don't know how to deal with Trump. That's for sure. He said this government needed a shakeup, and they're getting it. Telling people to take it to the streets. How'd that work in 2020? Yeah. How's it going to work now in 2025? I can see it happening. There's some nut job people out there who've lost their minds, guys. Biggest thing, they want government to give them everything. Well, I want government to give me everything too, but that's not happening. And I know it's not. So I just have to deal with it. There's some crazy stuff out there, guys. And I just enjoy watching it from here. Because I know my pension checks are coming in. Hopefully my Social Security in about 6 months here. Yeah. Insanity, guys. They just don't know how to deal with Trump. Trump 2.0. He's had 4 years to think of how he's going to screw with the government. And it's funny because everything else was campaign promises, and I was like, I don't know what he's doing. When he started talking about Gaza and the U.S. taking over Gaza, I was like, really? Then watching some of the news, they're saying that's just a bargaining chip to get the other Arab countries in line and take some of these refugees and help out with the rebuilding. Just like the initial terrorists and everything. Hey, way above my head. That was the only thing that had me shaking my head. Everything else, hey, full agreement with. Why should we let all these illegal aliens into the country? I know I came here and I had to do the right thing. Just like got married to Lynn and she came to the U.S. Had to do the right thing. Had to get her visa before she could enter the U.S. Luckily, we were stationed in Japan where the visa wasn't needed prior to having to move to the States. So no separation time. So it was great. Worked out great. What do they do with illegal aliens over here? They put them in BI jail for about 4 or 5 months before they can get them on a plane out of here back to their country. Why shouldn't we be doing the same? It's going to be a fun 4 years. This guy is non-stop, boy. Then here's what I see happening, guys. Real shortly. Democrats are going to dig such a hole so quick that they're going to take significant hits in the midterms. Significant. And a guy pointed out on, I think it was on CNN, the conservative guy there. Yeah, I get all my news from YouTube, guys. It's not baseball season. What can I say? Soon enough. What's his name? Scott or something? Can't even remember his last name. He's just tearing these Democrats reporters up on CNN, if you can believe that. One of the most biased programs ever. he made a good point. You know, Trump is just baiting them into all these 80-20 situations where the American population is 80% for what he's doing and 20% against, and all the liberals are lining up on the 20%. He's just baiting them into it, guys, making them look so bad all the time right now. It's win after win after win. Wait till the midterms. If they keep getting on these things, they think the American public's gonna keep that up. They're gonna take huge losses in the midterms. Opinion. Like I said, I didn't have anything to talk about today. Might as well talk about that. I don't know where anybody is. Lynn evidently took one of the trikes out. So, not sure where they went. I'm sure to get some food. Go shopping, go to the market or whatever. Yeah. Is this him? No. Yeah, just decided to come out here and have a discussion with y'all. Especially when no one can disagree with me until the comments come out. And I'm sure I'll get the comments. I always do, especially if I ever talk about politics. But just love it. The U.S. government needed an enema, and that's what they're getting. Got that big enema pill. It's like getting ready for a colonoscopy. Trump was giving it to him. I'm not a fan of Trump. Not a huge fan anyway, until he did this. Actually, a president that actually keeps some of his campaign promises. I can't remember any that Biden did. Can't remember any promise that Biden did during his presidency that he kept. And the latest one, they'll be protesting in the streets tomorrow because Trump just took away Biden's secret clearance, and they're not gonna brief him anymore. Probably a good idea, since he probably can't remember 2 minutes after he's been told anything. How that works. So yeah, that's another point that hey, what's up? Huh? I'm glad I'm not there to watch it. We're working for the government to have to wonder what's going to happen. Just need to get out of this society where everybody's giving everything in the U.S. And how is USAID paying transportation costs for illegal aliens coming across the border? How is that possible? Not and we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, guys. How is that possible? Because they had to take it from some pot, right? They had money in everybody else's pot, so they had to take it out of their pot. Of course, they'll never admit that, even though it's right there in black and white. Yeah. Enema time, guys. Very, very sorely needed. I hope he exposes all the crap that the Republicans have been doing too. Because it ain't just the Democrats wasting government funding. Long list of Republicans doing it too. I think we all know that. What are they doing for the American people? It's not giving them free giveaways, which is just wrong. Get off your ass and get a job. Not one time did I ever ask for or need government assistance. But many do. So how many viewers do I got left? How many even turned me off? Shout out to you guys. Good distraction now from not having baseball. They knew he was going to do this stuff. They knew it. They knew it was coming. And they're still unprepared on how to deal with it. Like I said, guys, he's on the 80-20. Actually, I think it's a little lower. I think it's about 70-30. Rain picking up a little bit here, guys. But just to give you a good example of DOD waste, fraud, waste, and abuse. Early 2000s, I was working for the Defense Contract Management Agency, and I was responsible for shipping vehicles over to Afghanistan for the Afghanistan National Police and the Afghanistan Army. And we ended up buying these vehicles from a Ford plant in Thailand, which is actually only about 10 clicks. About 10 clicks to factory from the beach in Pattaya. And we ended up I was responsible for shipping close to 150,000 of these Ford Rangers, brand new off the line, and then they would be taken over to a contractor where they would put on some better filters for the air cleaning system, and snorkels on there, and machine gun mounts or ambulance packages, depending on what kind of variant they were shipping over and for whom. 150,000 of these vehicles. I went to a program management office meeting there in Pattaya. I think it was maybe 2004, 2005. Like I said, and these were FMS vehicles, foreign military sales, which were actually U.S. giveaways to the Afghans. Like I said, these vehicles that cost, depending on the variant, anywhere between $24,000 to $30,000 per vehicle. And we were shipping, 300 or 400 at a time, basically every 2 weeks. Like I said, they're built in Pattaya and then sent out of there over to Afghanistan. And when I went to this program management meeting, got over there and they were talking about the vehicles and what happens to them as soon as they get into Afghanistan. And as soon as they left the yard, the billeting yard, they were never returned for the scheduled maintenance. And we had people over there set up, for all the initial service and maintenance on these vehicles, oil changes and all that good stuff. Once these vehicles left the yard, they never came back. And we found, we saw pictures of them. The police chiefs were driving these vehicles around, parking them at home, and they're never people going out on picnics with them. No accountability whatsoever, and no one was keeping track once these vehicles were turned over, even though the U.S. government paid for it and paid for the maintenance on all these vehicles. I think for up to 2 years or 3 years. But we were, the guys that were running the PLL points, and they were like, they never bring them back. Once they leave this yard, we never see them again. So I'll tell you where you did see them. You saw them on the news. You saw them on the news, and they were not being used for the purpose that they were sent over there for. And that's all I'll say on that. But yeah. And we're talking, like I said, 150,000 vehicles just during my time with that agency that were shipped over there, never to be seen again. Imagine 150,000 just in my time times 150,000 times, let's just say an average of 30,000 per vehicle, not including shipping and transportation. Imagine that, 150,000 just in my time, guys. 150,000 times 30,000. Somebody with a big mind like Musk needs to look at that stuff. See how it all comes out in 4 years.